All right, today's video on the 380 SL Sophia. She finally got fixed, but I had to bring in a mechanic to help me out on this. This is the hard start problem again, where it starts right up fine when it's cold, but when it's warm, after it's been sitting for 15-20 minutes, it just cranks and cranks. Let me show you the video here. Now, at first when I got the car, it was doing that. I changed the accumulator and it fixed right up. So again, you can go back and watch the video on changing the accumulator. I changed the accumulator, I changed the pump, I changed the screen. Pretty much it seems like that mostly fixes this car. I guess it's like a known issues. The accumulator went bad and you just change that and then you're good to go. I changed mine. I was good to go for a period of time, like 6 months or so, and then the issue came back. But just to show you, I changed mine right away, but apparently you can also test the accumulator. And let's go to the back here and can kind of give you, again, I didn't do this, but I just changed it right away. What you can do to test it, let me see. You go to this line right here that goes from the damper up to the accumulator. This hose right here, what you can do is take it off from the top part, clamp this, and if you see any fuel coming out that side of the accumulator is all the way in the back. If you see fuel coming out, it's really supposed to be, you're not really supposed to have a lot of fuel, very minimal to no fuel coming out of there. But if there's fuel coming out, then you know the diaphragm in the accumulator is bad and you need to replace that. So I don't know how often that happens, but it seems like the accumulator goes bad pretty often. So your biggest bet is to change the accumulator. It seems like that fixes warm start issues from what I've found out. So again, it fixed mine for a period of time, then the issue came back. But this time it's not the accumulator, so the accumulator is fine, it's been changed, and it's good to go. So we'll go on to the next fix. Again, there's a video that I've already made a while back on changing all the stuff, the pump, the filter, the accumulator, the damper I left. I changed these fuel lines, and then I also changed the screen. So if you want to go back, you can go and watch that. And that should fix, I think, most of the hard start issues with most people. Didn't fix, well, it fixed mine for a period of time. It does need to be done anyway, but I was having a different problem now, 6 months later. Next thing I want to talk about is the injectors. I did a video on changing out the injectors because I was reading online, and Kent was talking about the injectors leaking and how it leaks into the engine and it floods at your engine and all that. So I changed out the injectors. Again, didn't fix my problem. The car is smoother, so I'm glad I did change out the injectors, but that did not fix it. Also want to talk about the bench tester, apparently, that Kent was talking about and tries to sell on his website and tries to clean injectors. Apparently you can't clean these injectors, so just change them out. They're only 25 bucks, I think 20 bucks or 25 bucks each anyway. So just go ahead and change them if you're going to change the injectors. But again, it didn't fix my issue. The bench tester, when I saw the mechanic this time, we talked about the bench tester. He actually has a bench tester. He said he hasn't used it in like 30 years. He said even the new injectors leak, so there's not even a point in doing that. There's not even a point in testing them, cleaning them. So that hasn't been an issue. So moving on from the injectors, again, I made a video on changing your injectors if you want to change your injectors. Next is the cold start valve. That's this guy right here. Again, I made a video on testing the cold start valve just in case if that was leaking in. That wasn't leaking, so that wasn't a problem. I also talked about, on that same video with the cold start valve, I talked about fuel pressure regulators. There was one on the side here and one on the back. Apparently those are not fuel pressure regulators, they're fuel dampers, just for clarification. I guess those were fine. So here is the fix, finally. This is what the mechanic pulled out. Here it is. This was an issue. And after he fixed this, after he found out the issue, again, I guess maybe part of the diagnosis is, you have to hook up your fuel line or your fuel pressure lines to figure that out. and figure out what the issue is. Before I get to this, what this part is, and I don't know if I would have been able to do it at home, because maybe you do need, fuel pressure checkers, which I don't have. I guess you can borrow them from the auto store if you want to. But an easy way to check fuel pressure is pushing down on the plate down the middle, and I think I've done that in one of my videos. I think maybe on the cold start video. So what you do is, when the car is running, you can tell that the pressure is there, right? So when you push on that plate, that's a really easy way to figure out how much pressure you have. Well, not exact pressure, but if you're losing pressure. But push on the plate, and the plate is like pretty solid because there's pressure. So if you let the car sit, with my car, if you let it sit for like 15-20 minutes, if you push on that plate again, there's a ton of play. You can push that like plate plunger thing all the way down pretty much. And that's when you know that you've lost fuel pressure. So that's an easy way to figure out, hey, you have no pressure, and that's what's causing the engine from not starting, is the fuel pressure is gone. So push on the plate. Push on the plate. If you can push it down easily, then that's your issue. It's a fuel pressure problem. Going back to this little thing. Here it is. I found it on AutoHaus. It's $180. He charged me $250 for the part because they always charge more. But it's a Bosch fuel distributor seal. It goes on the back of the fuel distributor, and there's all these washers. Looks like he said I don't know if these washers are called shims. He kept saying that you have to shim it up. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I would have been able to fix this thing, honestly. So I'm glad I finally went to a mechanic and got this thing fixed. So this part, plus the labor and the checking and all that, he also checked the mixture for me, $500. So $500. This goes on the back of the distributor, apparently. It's not the thing that's on the fuel distributor. I think there's like a pin where you can like push it up and it goes back and forth. It's not this. That's not it. It looks like it, and that's what I thought it was. But I guess it goes on the back this way. So again, after all this work, finally the warm start issue has finally resolved. But again, I think your biggest thing with these cars, from what I'm reading and learning, is the accumulator. So that's probably your first go-to. After that, you can start messing around with it like I did. And eventually, if you give up like I did, this turned out to be the problem. Okay, hope that helps. Again, mentioned 3 videos in the past. You can go back and watch them. You can watch them in order to figure out what I've done with this car along the way. I still have more issues, so I'm gonna keep posting more videos. All right, thanks for watching.